Hello and welcome. This is my first year into game development. Probably most of you haven't seen me, but if this is your first time, think maybe drop a like or subscribe. Anyways, this video will be going over my first year into game development, from before the tutorials all the way up to now in my current project, Magic and Mushroom. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's get straight into it. Before I got into game development, I watched YouTubers like Cody Can't Eat This and Blackthorn Prod. These channels helped me realize that I could actually make games, and I'm really thankful for them. And if it was for them, I wouldn't be here. Anyways, that's it for this section. Let's continue on. Before I even decided to use Godot, I decided to use Unity. Just the stage I was at. Anyways, I used the Game Maker's Toolkit, and it was a pretty good tutorial. Didn't like using Unity. This actually made me not want to do game development for a while, but I'm glad I went back into it. Anyways, let's move on to the first couple games in Godot. After getting back into game development, I decided to use Godot because it's a much lighter weight of an engine, and because some of my favorite game development YouTubers at the time, and still are using it, such as MZF and Goodgis. Another reason is because Brackeys started using it. I decided to follow his Godot tutorial on making your first game, and it was great. I absolutely loved it. I decided to take what I learned from the tutorial and try and add something of my own. It wasn't anything too special. I just scaled up the green slime, but I turned it red, and I turned it into a pseudo boss battle. After the Brackeys tutorial, I went right back into another tutorial. I followed Devworm's awesome tutorial, and it was great. I took this RPG tutorial, and I did the same thing that I did with Brackeys. I added something new to it. It's just something that I learned from the tutorial, but I did it from memory. I just added a new room, nothing too special. After that, I decided to make a small, scoped game all by myself, and it went great. It took 3 weeks to make 5 simple levels. I was so proud of it, I decided to post it on itch, and I lost the files, which is actually why I don't have them now. Any footage of them. I'll put up any footage if I find any. But at the time, I thought, they're gone. And it broke the computer, so I couldn't do game development for a couple weeks. I might try and remake the game with a slightly higher scope and a bit better. And I'll post it to itch this time. Anyways, that's it for the first 3 games. Let's move on. So after my family got a new computer, I started working on 3-dimensional games. These games were a struggle to make. They were not fun. They were badly coded. I also was following a lot of tutorials and stitching them together. I don't like tutorials. I was not having fun. I guess I had a couple that were okay. In this one right here, I did learn how to instantiate a scene. I would not trade this part in for anything. It was still a learning experience, so I regret nothing about this. The first game I've ever put on itch was Cheese Rats for the Godot Wild Jam. I had a week to make a game with the theme Consume. Since this was over the summer, I was able to spend the whole week making this game. It was a really fun experience, one I don't get very often, especially considering that I don't do game jams very often. And even after releasing 2 more games after this is probably my most played one still. As we leave the summer of 2025, we are going into the new school year. This is where I didn't really have time to make as many games as I wished, and so I didn't really make any actual ones. These games are usually small, took about a day to a week, and weren't really that good. There are only a couple that I say were good, and one that I say I released. We'll get to that in a second. As we're going through these games, I want you to keep in mind that most of these are prototypes and tech demos. This next game is Mr. Orb. It is a pretty janky game, but it was for a game jam that happened during a week of school. So, don't really blame myself for this. It is probably my least well received game of all time. It's very janky. The hitboxes are pretty bad. And all in all, just a bad puzzle game. Your whole goal in this is to put these orbs in these certain color squares, I guess. But they weren't orbs. And most of the puzzles were repeated and janky. Anyways, let's move on to a better game. This next game, I actually might try and continue or start over because I really like the concept. It's an Outer Wilds style horror game where you basically just complete a bunch of puzzles on the shelf. I really enjoyed this project. I just burnt out on it hard. So I don't really have much to show for it. This is literally it. I spent too much time on that camera system and those animations. This last game before modern day is one of my favorites. Its name is Fuzzerits, and you could go play it after this video on itch.io. And the whole point of this game is to not touch the red thing, and you're the mouse. I made this game as a challenge to myself to make a game in a week based off of somebody else's game. That game was a friend of mine's that he made on Scratch a while back. And it's honestly really fun, and I think you should go play it. We have now caught up to the modern day, where I'm developing a little game called Magic and Mushroom. This project has honestly become a passion project of mine. Ever since March, I just haven't been able to scratch the same itch as I have developing this. And honestly, I don't think I want to stop. I'm going to try and continue uploading these videos and developing the game. Other than that, I just want to talk about the fishing mechanic. The fishing mechanic took about half a month. Really shouldn't have taken that long. I just procrastinated. But what I did is I just used a random chance and on a timer. And every time the timer hits, it does a random chance. And if it fails, it does another random chance. Right now there's about a 50% chance to get a hook on the line, or you fail. You then have to do a mashing minigame, which to fill up that bar, and it's pretty easy. This is just the test stuff to make sure that the game loop is actually fun. One thing that I also added was a rarity system, where you only have common and rare right now, but the rare is 1%. And other than that, that's really it. We're all caught up now. If you want to play any of my 3 games that are on itch.io, they should be down in the description. And if you want to get caught up on all the devlogs, those will also be in the description. Anyways, hope you guys have a really good day, and see you next time.